the victory against Newtown meant that the defeat against Cardiff was a blip rather than a slump. That's important as we come into the business end of the season.
Yeah, I think it's important any time. I think you see what the true reflection is of people, and things go against you. I heard a great quote the other day from a boxing coach that, have a look who's in your dressing room once you got beat. There's plenty of people, that you've not got 30, 40 people like you have when you've won, giving you high fives, etc. And it's sort of similar, isn't it, with every team sport. See how people react. See how people are, see what the bounce back ability is, and see what the attitude is like for the rest of the week and then the next game. And yes, it was 1-0 against Newtown, but the possession and the opportunities were much higher than that. It was a dominant game, and we just didn't take our opportunities.
And although it was just a one goal, as you say there, Craig, nevertheless, clean sheet, that's important as we look ahead to the rest of the season.
Yeah, it is definitely. It's a great formula if you score goals and keep a clean sheet. You're looking for perfection, and and ideally we would have got a couple more goals. We've gotten some great opportunities. Certainly first half. I think second half it was a little bit closer, and we didn't create so many dominant opportunities in dominant moments. But Newtown are a good team. Last 10-15 minutes of any game, if it's 1-0, it gets a bit jittery. Certainly, especially when you got beat the week before and you were ahead. There's a psychological element to it as well. But no, I think the lads managed the last 15 minutes really well.
And although there's just one team between us in the league, as we take on Penybont this coming Saturday, there is a gap of 18 points.
Yeah.
But when we look back over the last 7 head-to-head fixtures, although we are unbeaten, we've won 4 by just the odd goal. So that suggests it will be a very close encounter.
Yeah, it does. Penybont, Rhys Griff has done a fantastic job there. He's built a really strong team from, I think, must be 4 or 5 years ago, getting promoted, and he's added to it, and he's built on it, to the point where they are have been for the last 2 years, pushing for European places. Obviously, cup final last year, if they had won the Welsh Cup against TNS, they would have got to Europe. They've been in the playoffs the last 2 or 3 years as well. So he is clearly building something there in the good, honest players, and they've got you look at it as well. They've got quite a bit of football league experience as well. Got some players in there that have played a really good level, and with their squad. So it's going to be a tough game. Always has been, always will be. Very competitive, very physical, and we've got to be ready for that.
And although we do have a few days to go before the game itself, albeit in your mind at least, not necessarily that the players would know, but do you have the starting 11 set in stone, or are you still open to persuasion by what you see on the training ground?
I think circumstances dictate that sometimes. In the circumstances at this moment in time, we've been getting players back, making sure, like I said, we're early in the week. We've still got another 2 or 3 days left of training to go. So that'll be decided later on in the week. Really, how people react to back in training, how people don't react, and etc. So no. At this moment in time, it's I've got a rough guide. But there's 2 or 3 that might be left till the Thursday or Friday.
And it is nice to see players coming back into contention as well. Josh Pask was on the bench, Cheslovich came on as well. Does that add to the selection headache that sometimes you have when you look ahead to games?
Yeah, it does. I think it's key. For a long time, for my first spell here as well, I think the key for me has always been competition from within, competition for places, competition for match day, competition on a daily basis in training. I think it helps my job fantastically well by driving people that if you're not playing well, you're not in the team, or you miss a game through injury and someone comes in, plays well in front of you, then you've got to work hard to get back, etc. So it's great to have the full hit of players if we've got them. Then obviously my job's harder because I've got to give the not so good news to some people that with a full squad we've got some senior players that aren't even on the bench, but I would rather have it that way than have our bare bones like at some point we'll have. You just got to look at Guion Davids has done a fantastic job. We really shouldn't be having a 17-year-old boy having to lead the line for us on multiple occasions, but through circumstance it has. And that's just the way it's in. He's done really, really well. He's done fantastically. He's probably well ahead of his development through having to play.
As you mentioned, Rhys Griffiths doing a great job at Penybont. They're a good side.
Yeah.
We know the form when they take on TNS. How much of that do you take into account when you plan for the game, or do you focus more on what you're going to do as opposed to what they will bring to the table?
Yeah, I think you've got to show healthy respect and do your due diligence and watch, what have done. We've watched the last 3 or 4 games, which we do. It's a standard format that we do with everyone. We ideally in the last 3 games get someone live, eyes on them to see them live at games. We'll look at the last 2 or 3 games that they've played in, and we will talk about them and we'll give information on them, but 90-95% of it's got to be about us, no matter who we're playing. Certainly at home, certainly the situation is, and I think that's something that the players respond to, the best way, that 90-95% of it is about us, and it has to be on the day.
And with 24 points up for grabs, the New Saints has a lead of 15 points at the top. It is a healthy place to be in. Yeah,
of course it is. It is, but we are striving and trying our best to create that gap as big as we can on a weekly basis, on a daily basis, as in, your hard work comes out on a Saturday, what you've done during the week. And I'm a big believer in that. We've got a fantastic group of players with really great attitudes, really good professionals, want to learn, want to work hard. And there was quite a few players that were devastated about getting beat at Cardiff Met, because we never spoke about it publicly, but we wanted to go all season without getting beat. We wanted to try to anyway. And I think it probably knocked the stuffing out of the group, but it's 10 days, 10-12 days on now, and we've got a good victory against Newtown, and we be going into Penybont full of confidence and wanting the game to be as quick as possible.